Our second story is about cars, specifically electric vehicles, EVs. If you're looking to buy an EV, you are in luck because right now this is a buyer's market. The prices are going down and the number of companies offering electric cars is going up. In countries like China, there is in fact an oversupply and a new player has zoomed into the arena, looking to shake up the industry and park itself in pole position. We're talking about Xiaomi. A household name in smartphones and electronics, Xiaomi is now entering the electric car market. Last week, they launched their first EV, a sedan called the Speed Ultra 7, or SU7 for short, Speed Ultra 7. This car has made a rocking debut. Within 24 hours of launch, Xiaomi had more than 88,000 orders. And now there's a long wait list. Many of those who've booked a car will have to wait for at least 6 months to get it. It's a dream launch. Xiaomi's new car is a super hit even before it rolls out of showrooms. The company's stock price has surged by 16%. Their market value has jumped by more than $7 billion. Xiaomi's valuation, in fact, touched $55 billion today, which makes it more valuable than car companies like General Motors and Ford. General Motors is worth $52 billion, Ford is worth $53 billion, and Xiaomi at $55 billion is bigger than them. The electric car has supercharged Xiaomi. As of now, the SU7 is available only in China, but this launch is generating global buzz. And the reason for that is Xiaomi's business strategy. It's aggressive pricing. The base model is priced at around $29,000. That's close to 25 lakh rupees. Now compare this to a Tesla. A Xiaomi car is at least $4,000 cheaper than a Tesla. And at this price point, Xiaomi is not making a profit. In fact, it is losing money. On every car sold, it will lose $10,000 per car. So this price war with Tesla will bleed Xiaomi. Let me show you an assessment. It is by Citi Research. They say if Xiaomi sells 60,000 cars this year, the company is set to lose 4.1 billion yuan, which is around $560 million US. So at this rate, the more cars they sell, the more money they will lose. Which brings us to the question, why is Xiaomi doing it? Because it can, and the Chinese state is helping it. Xiaomi has a cash reserve of $15 billion, so it can afford the price war and the loss. Plus, it has the backing of Beijing. You see, Xiaomi is not building these cars on its own. It is using a state-owned manufacturer, a company called the BAIC Group. They are the ones making the Xiaomi EV. China already has a large EV ecosystem. Xiaomi is simply leveraging it to enter a new market and to disrupt it. They can sustain a short-term loss to get a foothold in the EV market. And China's state infrastructure is helping them do this. Beijing has spent big money to build it, this infrastructure. From 2009 to 2023, Beijing handed out $28 billion. $28 billion. This was in the form of subsidies and tax breaks to EV makers. And these SOPs attracted many players. They made China the world's largest EV market. In fact, now it's overcrowded. There are at least 200 car makers in China, 200 companies. They make both EVs and hybrid cars. Last year, China cut some of these subsidies, so these 200 companies are now looking to compete in new markets outside China. And the rest of the world should be on guard. The US Treasury Secretary has already issued warnings. Her name is Janet Yellen. She says China is treating the global economy like a dumping ground. They have more EVs than buyers, so they're sending their cars overseas. In fact, let me quote from her statement. I'm concerned about global spillovers from the excess capacity that we are seeing in China. China's overcapacity distorts global prices and production patterns and hurts American firms and workers, as well as firms and workers around the world. Europe is concerned too. According to one report, 1 out of 4 EVs sold in Europe this year will be made in China, 1 out of 4. And Chinese EV makers are eyeing India too, including the company called BYD, the world's biggest seller of EVs today. Last month, BYD announced that it wants to cover 90% of India's EV market by the end of 2024. This year, 90% of the market. So the Chinese are coming for everyone. And it's no longer about who sells the best car. It's about who can bleed the other side more. It's not a level playing field. Chinese companies have state subsidies, they artificially lower prices and kill competition. So governments around the world need to step in and protect their markets and their companies against Chinese dumping.